Alright, Studio Fam, how you doing? There's 1 or 2 videos missing. You were supposed to get some extra content, but it didn't pan out in the end. But let's not dwell on the past. So I mentioned recently that I've been working on a few new channels. They are now ready to share, but there's still work being done on preparing content for them. So I'm just giving you a heads up before I announce it on the main channel, which may still be a little while. So the first channel is one called Parasocial Therapy. So the name for this is a little bit of a joke because I'm not a therapist. The point of this one goes back to, for some people, what's some of the most important content I make, which is discussion-based ones helping either artists or other creators to get to grips with some of the challenges about creativity. So there's like internal things like managing your attention deficit when it comes to working on different projects, how do you get stuff done? Or more external things like how do you manage attention or get people's attention? The way people have described it to me in the past is that sometimes this content is like therapy. And parasocial, if you don't know what parasocial means, a parasocial relationship is kind of one-sided in a way. It's what we use to describe the fan to creator relationship, where the creator doesn't necessarily know who's watching their videos, and yet these people feel like they're becoming friends of the creator just by a proxy of being part of the experience, right? Like if you're watching a video where it feels like you're sitting in a room with someone talking to you, then you can't really help it necessarily. You're just kind of developing this friendship dynamic. So that's what the channel is about. It's where the discussion-based content is going to go, and hopefully a bit more as well. So in the way of, I actually want to check in with certain creators over time, ask for their experience, maybe translate that to video, and also take questions as well and go back and forth. I'd like it to be a bit more of a connective thing rather than just random offshoot videos. But this is the place for that type of content now. I'll leave links in if you want to preemptively subscribe and then like turn on the notification bell, then you can do that. But it's not ready just yet, so you're getting a bit of a preview. The next channel is Blender Holt. So why? Curtis Holt is already a Blender channel, isn't it? This one's going to take a bit of explaining. Over time, one of the most disappointing things about the main channel is that people keep asking for tutorials, right? And whenever I make something more specified in Blender, like, hey, let's make this, or let me show you how to do this, flops. Every time. You can't trust like what the audience say they want versus what they'll actually watch, which is a shame because I have that inbuilt instinct now. I want to make really hyper-specific Blender content. Boots on the ground Blender is how I describe it. And I want that to exist, right? So in a similar way to not wanting to suffocate the discussion content on the main channel and let it live its own life and maybe find its own audience, I want to give the boots on the ground Blender content a chance to do that again. So this channel, with very different styling as you can see, is all about the fun of Blender. That's it. You know, boots on the ground, let's make some stuff, let me teach you how to make some stuff, and nothing else. Now you might be wondering, why an otter? Like, what's that about? And why do you have Holt in the channel name? It seems a bit redundant if you've already got a Blender-related channel with Holt in it. Well, it was originally going to be something a bit different. It was going to be some kind of reference to like coffee or breakfast or something along those lines, because that's how I kind of imagine people watching it, like sitting down with their breakfast, having a drink, that kind of thing. But then I kind of remembered something about the name Holt. Holt has several meanings. Holt is a place here in the UK. It's a town, a city, and I've sometimes thought about moving there and becoming their king. It also means a forest or like a wooded area. So I've always kind of liked the idea that if I had a kid, I would name it something like Winter Forest, so Winter Holt. Although now I feel like I'd be stealing from Savannah Shire, Savannah XYZ, who I think named their kid Winter Shire, which is a similar kind of thing. So maybe I'll try Autumn Holt or something like that. But another meaning is the home of an otter, or the den of an otter is what it will say whenever you look up the definition. So it's interesting having a look at what is the Curtis Holt channel and what is this channel that's going to have very opposite styling, which is this, you know, cute and colorful, which is very different from the main channel at the moment. I was like, okay, we can take different definitions of the name, but if you search for one or the other, then the other will also appear in the search results. So for example, if someone searches for Blender Holt, Curtis Holt will appear. And then when Blender Holt grows, when someone searches for Curtis Holt, Blender Holt will appear. So effectively, they're overlapped in the search results, or they will be when it's a bit bigger. So it's a way of kind of keeping the brands linked in that way, despite having completely different styling and potentially in the end, different audiences. So that's the second channel. And again, I'll leave a link if you want to preemptively subscribe and, you know, put notifications on. Now, the third of the new channels, so that's the last new one for this phase, is simply Curtis Holt Online. This is quite an easy one to understand. It's just for product trailers and stuff like that. So again, another thing with the main channel, I make products. I sometimes feel bad about pushing them all the time, which I shouldn't, because it's really what I do is like the main income driver for me. That's my job. But obviously with this parasocial relationship I've got with my audience now on the main channel, it feels a bit weird pushing it in there. So I feel like I needed this professional separation channel just for products and the technical specifics and stuff like that. Obviously, because my website is curtisholt.online, that's the naming, that's the theme. So Curtis Holt Online for me is how I've described it in the last video we did about this and on my Patreon exclusive video. For me, it's my Apple channel. That's how I think about it. If this is a business, this is the business brand channel. So all product trailers, events, if I do events in conversations, that will take place here. So what does that leave, or where does that leave the Curtis Holt channel? Curtis Holt channel is going to be exactly the same as it is, but I feel like it's going to be maybe more of like a reporting channel, news reporting. Because again, if you're paying attention to what people expect from the channel, that seems to be what people expect more than anything else. That and roundups, and I've said multiple times I want to insert or inject more fun into it as well. So what I just did was, it's this pivotal point where I have this opportunity now, this space, these resources, this time, and rather than kind of diving headfirst into a paradigm that I was working on that has many limitations, I kind of look forward into the future and I think, okay, everything I want to do, projecting it decades into the future, structurally now, how I'm organizing things, is this appropriate for the long term? And the answer was effectively no, not when considering everything. So yeah, I was just letting you know about these now. These all have their own associated social accounts as well. So that's, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, Mastodon, Threads, Blue Sky. So you can choose what you want to follow and what you don't want to, although I believe the Twitter, there's still some setup to do with that, but I'm sure there'll be links put somewhere on the website in the end. So yeah, just letting you know about it. But obviously, if you want to support like the growth of any of this or any of my other projects, then you can feel free to sign up to the Patreon. Alternatively, become a YouTube member on the main channel where there's some extra exclusive content as well. curtisholt.online/members. So yeah, thanks for watching everyone. Stay safe and I will catch up with you when there's some progress on some other projects.